This episode is brought to you by Netflix. New players, new games, new rules. Squid Game, The Challenge returns for a gripping second season. 456 contestants from all walks of life, competing in the ultimate test of strategy, alliances, and endurance. For a life-changing prize of $4.56 million. With stakes this high, why make friends when you can make millions? Watch Squid Game, The Challenge Season 2, now playing only on Netflix.
REI Co-op presents a perfect outdoor moment with the perfect gift. Picture this. You're ripping with your favorite person. Bluebird skies, blower powder, and frankly, you're skiing like legends.
So sick. Another lap?
Thanks to REI's curation, from lid to sticks, you nailed the gift.
No way. How'd you know?
Does it get more perfect than that? Give without guessing. Shop in store or visit rei.com.
You don't technically need this car. You say that out loud to yourself. You say, I have no space. You say, I'm just looking. Then you click. Then you zoom in on photo number 87 and whisper, oh no. Then you text a friend, the one who always enables you. You say to yourself, this is the last one, knowing it is not. You don't need this car. But maybe, just maybe, this car needs you. Bring a trailer. It's never just a car.
Hey all you heroes, hawks, heralds, crows, pirates, and wardens. Welcome to the Dragon Age Lorecast, where we unpack, discuss, and galaxy brain about all the lore behind the Dragon Age series.
We are so excited to bring you this podcast. Every episode, we'll be talking about a different topic in the Dragon Age universe, from character deep dives to exalted marches and elven gods. We will cover it all.
There will be spoilers. And always remember, swooping is bad.
Hello and welcome to the Dragon Age Lorecast, where we talk about Dragon Age and its lore. I'm one of your hosts, Austin, also known as Teacup.
And I'm your other host, Shelby or Shecup.
That you are, and we're here to talk about some Dragon Age, but most importantly, we're here to talk about music, songs, and instruments.
Yes, which I know I expect and presume that you are thrilled and very excited to talk about as the resident guitarist in our household.
That is true. Shelby also played the bass, so don't let her sit here like she's not a musician.
I gave that up a long time ago.
Man, you sound like a war veteran. I can't get back to that life, man.
Okay, moving right along. Let's talk about some fun facts. So we're going to talk about a character named Zither, who is a bard in Inquisition. But I bring him up as a fun fact because his name is actually a class of instruments, which are the concert zither, the alpine zither, and the chord zither, which is also known as a fretless guitar.
Yay, stringed instruments.
We're going to be talking about a lot of instruments today, so any thoughts you have, share them. There is also a collection in Inquisition called Patron of the Arts that is a total of 22 songs with their lyrics that you can collect. You basically gain one entry whenever you hear that song for the first time. And then the last fun fact I didn't write out in my show notes appropriately, but that's okay. The last fun fact I want to shout out is really not in the lore at all. This is a person... I don't actually know their name, but you can search them on Spotify. They're called the Dread Hala Tavern, and they write and create songs about Dragon Age, about the lore of Dragon Age, that like could fit into the universe. I don't think they're currently making songs anymore. But I think they started during COVID, I want to say. But they are phenomenal if you've never heard of them. They have like 3 volumes on Spotify. So definitely go check it out because they are an awesome little musical thing in our fandom world. So go check out the Dread Hollow Tavern if you haven't ever heard of it. Getting into the lore a little bit, we're going to talk about instruments first. And I do want to say that most of the references to instruments that we have come from the Inquisition game files. And we do have some pretty cool pictures of concept art, sadly not official art, in the Art of Dragon Age Inquisition book. So a lot of these we just like know the names of. We don't necessarily have a description or an image of. So if you have thoughts, Austin, about what this could be, we can talk about it, but let's get into it. So the first one we have is called a bicorder, which I assume is similar to the recorder.
Probably. It probably has to do with like a recorder is a similar, like a cylinder thing, but like one of the reasons it's called a recorder is because of how it circulates air.
Okay.
So the bicorder, or like a recorder, like
maybe it's 2, like a double.
Yeah, but you can like with a recorder when you fingering, like different fingerings have different no, stop looking at me like that. Different hand placements and finger placements have different notes, and you can have different notes with the same hand position. Whereas a bicorder probably has 2 sides for, if I had to guess.
2 different things. Interesting. The next one is called a Lillo flute, which is mentioned by Zevran in Dragon Age Origins when asked what Antiva is like. So again, I just assume some kind of flute. And then we have the longhorn, which is not the Texas mascot. It's 2 words, longhorn.
It is probably something similar to a trumpet of some kind of brass instrument. If I had to guess, think like when you see it in the cartoons or like medieval things of like the long brass instruments, like trumpet like things that have the like flags on them that people blow. That would be what I would guess.
Well, I was thinking more like a shofar.
It's also possible as a shofar. I was thinking more medieval than.
Yeah, we don't know. We have no idea. The next one is a lute, which is mentioned by Zither in the Inquisition multiplayer, and the lute is just like a guitar, but instead of having the like curved body, it's just like a big old circle sphere thing. And then we have a mega lute, which I assume is just a really big lute.
Yeah, it's the fully evolved form of the lute. Now proceeding with my bard to change his lute into a mega lute.
Okay, moving on. We do also have something called the Tingler, which, again, we have no idea what that is, but I believe it's a coincidental reference to the ring of the same name from Origins, but I am pretending that it's not a coincidence.
That's fair. It probably is something similar to like a triangle or a chime or something like that.
Yeah, true. Or like bells. So the next one is something called a tremolo. Again, no idea what it is, but I did some research. There is an instrument in our world called a tremolo, which is basically an instrument that's a combination of a slide guitar and a zither. And I do have a Wikipedia page for that, and I'll put it in the show notes or in the episode description. So I'm not sure if this is a spelling mistake intended to be the same thing or not.
Well, tremolo is also a specific sound now. Like you can create that sound. Like you can almost have like an electric guitar. You can have a pedal that is a tremolo pedal. And it sounds like, I don't know how to describe it, but it basically increases the vibrato of your notes. Which, if you're unfamiliar, vibrato is like the way and the speed in which the note you're singing fluctuates. So a lot of times, like if you think of a traditional operatic singer who sings in an opera, they have a lot of vibrato. Tremolo would be even more than that. Tremolo was really, really popular in the late 60s, early 70s, in a lot of like not really classic rock, but more of that alternative funk rock kind of stuff.
Interesting. Good to know. So the next one, and these last three are all kind of in the same category for me. This is called an Erhu, which is spelled U-R-H-U. Again, we don't know what this is in Dragon Age, but there is an instrument in our world that originated in China, spelled very similarly, E-R-H-U. It's basically a 2-stringed fiddle.
All right. We'll call it a canjo.
Yeah, canjo's perfect. And then the last one is something called a wazoon. No idea what this is in Dragon Age, but there is something in our world called a wazoo without the N on the end, which is basically just a kazoo with an amplifier.
This is 100% of what this would be. This is the reference. It's a kazoo, people. Like, it's just a kazoo.
All right.
Or it could be like similar to the bassoon. Would be another where you could go with that.
True. I didn't even think about that. All right. Do you have any other thoughts about the instruments before we get into some songs?
No, not particularly. It is so rare that like these fandoms actually include like in universe specific instruments. Like we have a mention of musical instruments really in Jedi Fallen Order with the sitar kind of sounding thing. I mean, there's other musical references to instruments, but it's really hard to like create a world that creates instruments that aren't just like weird rebrands of our instruments.
Right.
Because like, how could we have a concept of that? We would need to be able to compare it to something we know.
Right. And I mean, that's part of like some of these are familiar to us. Like the lute is a real instrument in our world too. Same for the flute. So,
yes.
All right. Well, let's get into some notable songs, of which there are many. A lot of these are sung by Meriden, but not all of them. But the first one I want to talk about is called Andraste's Mabari, which we've talked about on the show before, I think in our Ferelden episode, but I'm not quite sure when it was. But this is a very heartbreaking song in which Andraste's closest companion is actually not Mafrath, not Shartan, not her mother, not any other friend, but her Mabari, who Mafrath tries to kill / lure away from her and is unsuccessful. And when she was captured, the Mabari was so injured that they thought he died, but in reality, he survived and walked into the flaming pyre to die with her. It's very sad. It's very sweet. And it's a great one. You can look it up or go listen to our Ferelden episode to hear the full verses.
Yeah, I think it's either the Ferelden episode or it's the Andraste episode.
I don't know. We've had so many episodes, people. I don't remember at this point.
It's somewhere.
And then we have another one. This one is sung by Meriden. It's called Empress of Fire. And it's about Empress Selene. And it's essentially a song of devotion to her and her reign, which makes sense because Meriden is Orlesian. Do you have thoughts?
No one's perfect.
You're referring to Selene or Meriden?
To Meriden.
Okay. Another one that we have is called Enchanters, again by Meriden. And it encourages the mages to band together and fight against the Templars. Another one that is not sung by Meriden is called A Hero in Every Port, parentheses, the Ballad of Nuggins. This is of Philium, a bard. And it is a ballad of a heroic Nug who tripped 9 Qunari, a pirate admiral, the Darkspawn, a Viscount in Kirkwall, and became a knight, a captain, a Grey Warden, and then got eaten.
Wow. Okay.
Very active Nug.
Very interesting. Very, very way to go, Nuggins. I would like to imagine that this story is why Liliana wants a Nug.
Fair.
I mean, she wants a Nug because she thinks they're cute.
She does, yeah. Another one that we have is called I Am the One. This is also sung by Meriden. And it's a pretty sad song. It's essentially just like a ballad of hopelessness and everything that's happening throughout Inquisition, and it ends with an encouragement to rely on yourself and work hard to do the things that you can do.
This just brings in a lot of questions of like, Meriden obviously has her own allegiance, which I appreciate. Like, she doesn't sing like her songs don't change based on if you side with the Templars or mages or you kill Selene or something like that. Like in some instances, like Skyrim, if you side with the Empire, the bards all still sing the like pro-Empire songs, but if you side with the Stormcloaks, they sing the pro-Stormcloak songs, and like those change based on decisions. Meriden doesn't, and I appreciate that. I just find it interesting that she's pro-Selene and pro-mages, which I guess makes sense because Selene doesn't really care about the Chantry other than the power it gives her.
Yeah, right. That's exactly it. And I think I have a tendency to think that the regular everyday people of Thedas do not care as much about these, what the tension between mages and Templars as much as the mages and Templars and Chantry officials do.
Yeah, and I was talking about this in the Discord at some point. I don't remember the exact context, but I was talking about how the everyday Thedosian doesn't care about the nuance of the mages or Templar debate. They care about what affects them.
Yeah.
And Templars and mages are fighting, and that's putting them in danger. That's what they care about.
Right. They care about, is a rogue mage who's turned into an abomination going to come and burn my house down with fireball? No? Okay, cool, fine, I'm good.
Yeah. That's really what they care about. And so, like, they're not going to care about the minutia differences in the lore that we talk about and spend time agonizing over and doing all that. They don't care. Just like similarly, we as a society don't care that much about really who's in power as long as that person in power is
doing the things we want them to
and are supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly it. So another song I have is called King Megrin's Mabari. And this is a Ferelden folk song that mocks King Megrin, who was the king during the Orlesian occupation. And so in the song, he is constantly portrayed as an idiot, culminating in a Mabari eating his best Orlesian mask. And obviously this song fell out of popularity after the Orlesian occupation ended.
I like to imagine that this song is sung to the same tune as Andraste's Mabari.
Yes, that's canon to me now.
Okay, good. I mean, that's like a common like rebellion type thing, is that they will take other tunes and
make new lyrics.
Well,
and that's not just a rebellion thing. That's an everything thing. Like a lot of the hymns that are sung in churches were originally bar songs.
That's true.
So another song I have is called The Lack of Silence. We don't really know anything about this one, but I wanted to put it in this list because I kind of feel like it's a reference to The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there a Canticle of Silence?
Yes.
I thought so.
Yes, there is.
There's so much silence that's reference to Dumont as well.
True.
So I just wanted to know about that. That's interesting to me. I do think this is probably a reference of like the kind of like having been a writer myself and like develop stories and other things like that. Like when I name chapters, like if there is a naming like pattern that continues, like that is an intentional choice.
Well, like it's like with the Friends episodes, that one where the one blah blah blah,
the one blank where blah whatever.
Yep.
Like that's an intentional coincidence, and so like the fact that it is basically you changed one word, it probably, if it's not intentional, it's subconscious.
Yeah. Another song we have is called Maker, which is another Meriden song. And it is a lament to the Maker for letting the world become as terrible as it is.
Mood.
I know. I get it. The next one we have is called Nightingale's Eyes, which is sung by Meriden. This is actually one of my favorite songs of hers. And it's an ode to Liliana and her talent as spy master. And so I do have a quote from some of the lyrics. And it says, Nightingale's eyes, what secret lies in their worth? Raven's tears they cry, but all the while they softly lie and spy on you. To me, I'm just saying, to me it sounds like Meriden was a jilted almost lover of Liliana, or that Liliana kind of rejected her.
I mean, it's possible.
It's certainly possible.
As we discussed in the episode where we talked about her as a side character, she is not a bard. She is like a minstrel or something else that is her classification.
Yeah. Who knows? Another one that she sings is called O Grey Warden, and it laments the actions of the wardens and Inquisition, and in my opinion, particularly Blackwall. And some of the lyrics are, O Grey Warden, what have you done? The oath you have taken is all but broken. All is undone. Demons have come to destroy this peace. Ally or foe, maker only knows. Can you be forgiven when the cold grave has come?
Yeah, the line, the oath you have taken is all but broken. All is undone. A little bit of foreshadowing.
Very much so.
Not just like Blackwall, but like the events of DAV too, of like the oath. I mean, even like you really see that like the oath you have taken is all but broken. I mean, that's how Davern feels after the events of Weishaupt, because he's supposed to die and kill the archdemon.
But also, I mean, is the Grey Warden oath anything without Weishaupt Fortress?
Exactly.
Yeah. Another song we have is called The Saga of Tirda Brightaxe, Avar Mother, which is an epic ballad. Think similar to Bohemian Rhapsody. And it follows the life of the first Avar chief, Tirda Brightaxe. She is a friend to dwarves, spirits, and elves alike. She refuses to marry an arrogant man, and she defends her tribe's independence in the process. She bears a child named Morriganon, and her people prosper. We've talked about Morriganon before and the coincidence of the name.
And we've talked about her because, like, we've talked about Tirda Brightaxe before.
Yes.
As a side character. And we've talked about, like, as you do her quests and whatever, her, I can't remember if they're landmarks or something that unlock the codexes that you get for, I think it's through landmarks or something like that.
Yes, it is landmarks in Ferelden.
It turns out she was mage.
Yeah.
Like, that's why she's Brightaxe, because she's
because
a
her
mage.
the bright axe was not an axe, it was a staff.
Exactly. So I just think that's also interesting in the name coincidence, because like the non is so clearly elven. Like that is an elven naming convention.
Yes, that is
but
true.
We talk about that when we talk about Tirda Brightaxe in whatever episode that happened in.
We talked about her on the History of the Avar episode, which is the first episode of season 5.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So the next song I have is called Sarah Was Never. And this is another Meriden song. We mentioned this when we talked about Meridens as a side character, I think. And it's a song devoted to Sarah, but Sarah thinks that it's creepy and was just a thinly veiled attempt by Meriden to woo Sarah. So some of the lyrics are, quote, Sarah was never an agreeable girl. Her tongue tells tales of rebellion, but she was so fast and quick with her bow, no one quite knew where she came from. She would always like to say, why change the past when you can own this day? Today she will fight to keep her way. She's a rogue and a thief, and she'll tempt your fate. I love this song. It's so catchy.
It is very, very catchy. It used to be a song that very much like gave credence to the fact that people thought Sarah was Andriel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that is a credible theory as much anymore.
Oh,
I mean,
I don't
it
either.
could be, but like, I think Andriel went mad with the blight and died before they got sealed away.
I agree. The conspiracy theory, fan theory about Sarah that I do believe is that she was in the Denerim alienage.
Yes, the orphanage or
Yeah.
whatever that was haunted.
Yeah. Which is why she has a tendency to think things that are not very creepy are creepy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this song is creepy, but she does, and that's her right. Okay, so the next song I have is called She of the Highwaymen Repents, which I think this is a reference. We don't know anything about this song, but I think this is a reference to a supergroup, a country supergroup called the Highwaymen, and it's made up of Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, and Chris Christopherson. I think it's a reference to that.
Interesting. Probably, I would guess, like at some level. Maybe just because the reference to the Highwaymen. We know that we love the Highwaymen and the Highwaywomen who have since come out. Great music and
the Highwaymen.
Highwaymen. Yeah. It probably is a reference to that.
I mean, who knows at this point?
I mean, Highwayman is like another way you can say of like a bandit.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's that, but who knows?
Okay, so another song we have that we do know a little bit about is called The Red-Breasted Robin. And this is a lute song that is known for being exceedingly difficult. And it's alleged that Leandra Amell mastered this song at the young age of 8.
Interesting. I know you hate her.
Hey, if she's excellent at the lute, by all means, Leandra, go right ahead. Maybe you should have become famous with the lute.
I'm trying to like rack my brain of like a guitar part that would be like that this could be referencing to.
Mm-hmm.
Red-Breasted Robin. I mean, the only like bird songs that have guitar stuff in it that coming to mind are Blackbird and Freebird. Neither of which are actually that difficult.
I thought Blackbird was fairly hard.
No. I mean, it's hard to keep going, but like it's fairly simple and like it's just a repeating pattern. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Okay, so the last song that we know a little bit about before we go to the mid-break is called The Soldier and the Seawolf. And this is basically a sea shanty that tells the story of Bryce Cousland and Eleanor McEnrig's first meeting, which is the Cousland parents. So Bryce was an officer in Merrick's army, and Eleanor was the Seawolf, but we're not really sure what that means. It just is what it is. And that's when Bryce tried to propose to her by singing the song in full, but she stops him after 3 verses.
Many questions. First question is this true? And it's just something that's circulated. And my follow-up question is that if it's not true, what did they do to get like sailors to write a sea shanty about them?
I know. I have no idea.
Which like is also a funny thing because like when you think of Ferelden army and
you don't think of the Navy.
Yeah, you don't think of a sea battle.
But it does make sense because let's be honest, about half the country is on the sea.
It's true. I mean, and Highever is...
It's on the Waking Sea.
Right.
We've got the northern border and we've got the eastern border.
Because like Highever and Amaranthine are not really that far from each other.
No, they are. Because Amaranthine is east of Denerim. And Highever is way on the western side, closer to Jader.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But they're both on the northern part. Like, they're not that far away. At the end of the day, it's not like having to go down to the Korkari Wilds or something.
Right. It's just interesting to me.
Yeah. You definitely don't think about Ferelden as like a sea country, but...
I mean, like, you also don't think about that with, like, Britain, but, like, for a long time...
Britain is an island.
Right, but Britain also, like, controlled and maintained the strongest navy in the world.
Right, that's exactly true.
I mean, we only surpassed them within the last 100 years.
Right.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I just have a lot of questions about how this song came to be.
I do too. Maybe you can look it up and we can do an episode on it. All right, I think this is a good time to go to our mid-break.
That is uncharacteristically wise of you.
Yes, well, don't let it get around. I have a reputation.
We hear odd stories of Templars in the Imperium, Dorian.
All true.
I haven't even told you what I've heard.
Doesn't matter. All true. Particularly the part with the grapes and feathers.
Oh, I was leading towards that one, actually.
Please, go on.
First Talon.
What?
Seeing if you've got the hang of your new title yet.
Right. Me. First Talon.
If you join the Wardens, you could become the first Warden who's also First Talon.
The first Talon Warden.
Or First Talon First Warden.
Is that the first Talon who is a Warden, or the first Talon First Warden?
So many possibilities.
All right. Welcome to the middle of the show where we take time to thank our patrons. Thank you to all of our patrons. We greatly appreciate your support. If you'd like to join us on Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/DALorecast. We're approaching December, please note that December's patron chat is a special patron chat, as it has been across both of our shows. It'll be available to all patrons, which means that, like, no matter what your tier, you can come and join that Patreon or patron chat in December. And it normally is a big fun. We play a game and do all kinds of fun stuff. And so if you would like to do that, come and sign up for our Patreon, and we would greatly appreciate it. Another great way to support us is to leave us ratings and reviews on Apple or Spotify or YouTube. That's where we monitor them. If you leave us a comment somewhere else, please send it to us either to our email, dalorecast@gmail.com, or come send it to us on the Discord. If you leave us some kind words, 5 stars and some kind words, we will read it out on a future episode of the show. And we're really excited about that. I don't have any to read today, so get those comments and reviews in. Lastly, you can come hang out with us on Discord, the Cubs Podcasting and More Discord. Find that link in the episode description, on our website, in every episode description. There are lots of places you can find that link. Come hang out with us. Talk about Dragon Age. Talk about whatever games you want. Come hang out with us. It's a great place to be.
All right, let's get back into it.
Hey there, it's Dr. Sanjay Gupta with some exciting news to share. CNN is now streaming. That means you can read, watch, and stream everything in one subscription. You can watch news live 24/7. You can also explore catch-up videos and explainer videos. And you can also watch a library of CNN's originals, including my latest documentary, It Doesn't Have to Hurt. Just go to cnn.com/all-access.
This reminds me of a story. Shocking. It's about an impossibly handsome dwarf and his friend who got crowned King of the Nugs.
A Nug King? Really?
It's not as good as it sounds. Nugs mostly just shit on the floor and roll in it. Welcome to the Deep Roads.
Is it me, or is this the slowest lift ever constructed?
It's better than climbing down.
I could do with some music. Something with a flute.
How about we skip this one? Send your man instead.
How about I shove a canary up your coal mine?
Okay, so I want to talk about some other songs. These are some, like, we do have the lyrics to some of these, but they're not particularly, like, memorable for any reason. So you can look them up if you want to, but I'm just going to give you the names. So we have Rise, Samson's Tale, Shred of Blue, Skyhold Garden, Take Back the Sky, A Tavern Cheer, The Bulls Chargers Song, The Girl in Red Crossing, The Silver Knight, The Storm Coast's Claim, and Three Little Empresses. And most of these are Meriden songs as well. So of all the songs that we've discussed and talked about, do you have any overarching thoughts, themes you want to bring up?
Much like Thetis' own landscape, their songs are both humorous and incredibly depressing.
Well, much similar to ours as well, right?
Yes, that's probably fair. That's really my overarching thought about that.
I hear that. But let's talk about some notable musicians. Now, before we get into it, I want to preface this with almost all of the information that we have about these musicians comes from Party Banter with Zither and the Dragon Age Inquisition multiplayer. And as he is also a musician, a lot of this information may be biased or just simply untrue. So take it with a grain of salt.
All right.
The first group that we have is called Apostasy, and they are a band that once opened for Zither.
Okay.
We have another band called Bluebird Coop, which in-game is described as, quote, avant-garde rubbish. I think this is a reference to Blue Man Group. I mean, Bluebird Coop, Blue Man Group. Come on.
Yeah, probably.
We have another one called Evading Demons, and Zither says that he once opened for them quite early in his career. And quite ironically, the lead singer of Evading Demons actually died at the hands of an abomination.
Interesting.
Another one we know about is called Fuchsia Lotus, and they have a song titled, quote, I Need to Live, or possibly, quote, Hey, Don't Kill Me. But Zither, once again at the scene of the crime, does not remember which one that is.
Interesting.
Zither is an enigma. Let's just leave it at that. We'll talk about him later. Another one is called Gemstone and the Oculera. Zither says that they are, quote, marvelous, sexy, and possessing mad skills.
Is the exclamation point a part of his name?
Yes, it's Zither, all caps, exclamation point.
Okay.
Like Philium, a bard, exclamation point.
Okay.
Yeah, the show notes are exclamation points everywhere.
Yes, I was concerned.
So another one that we know about is obviously Meriden. We've talked about her on this show and on previous episodes, so go check those out. Another one that we know of is somebody called Spymaster. And Zither mentions playing a few sets with them in Montsimard once, and that they are, quote, great musicians, but rubbish in the sack.
You think this is Liliana?
No way. Liliana can't be bad in bed.
Yeah, but like, is she actually bad in bed, or is she bad in bed for Zither, who probably
doesn't know where the clitoris is?
Yes.
I don't know.
Or doesn't like women.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's just get into Zither now. So he is a masked fancy guy. You can meet him in Val Rio, in the little cafe. He's in other places too. He plays a lute. There's not much more to say about his description.
Yeah, that he looks kind of creepy.
Well, he is Orlesian, and they do wear masks.
I know.
But he is also our side character for the day. So I want to dig into him a little bit deeper. Because he is an Orlesian bard, lute player, mage, and player-controlled protagonist in Inquisition's multiplayer.
Interesting.
Yes. I really need to get into playing the multiplayer more of Inquisition, but nobody ever plays it. So it's hard. But there's some interesting lore that comes into play. So before Inquisition, Zither was once a household name in Orlais. He often played and performed for packed auditoriums of both nobility and commoners. But, however, when the Circles rebelled, Zither's manager, who was a Templar named Alphonse, tried to kill him. After surviving this attempted murder, he spent the next 2 years getting drunk and pissing away his entire fortune in a tavern in Cumberland.
Wow. That's a mood.
I mean, I can... That sounds fun, but also, dude...
let's have some perspective.
Yes. Let's... yeah, okay, it sucks that your manager tried to kill you, but, you can get a new manager.
You're a mage.
The Inquisition and his participation in it is really what he sees as his chance at a comeback, especially a comeback tour, as he has not been able to book a gig since before the outbreak of the Mage Templar War.
Well, there's probably not a lot of people gathering in taverns.
Well, especially not after Haven Fair. But there are people gathering everywhere.
I guess that's true.
So, he's clearly around in the little Val Royo cafe area. So
yeah, that's true. he very much is like dandelion or Jaskier coded in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a fair description. But we do have a description of him from the game files of Inquisition. And this is what it says about him, and you can give me your thoughts after. Zither, the Virtuoso, is the Inquisition's first musically inspired multiplayer agent. Although a mage by birth, his true strength, like his heart, lies in his music. When he plays, Zither infuses his lute with the elemental powers of rock and roll. These elements provide a cacophony of different effects, either aiding the party with crowd pleasers or wreaking aural havoc on his enemies with battle hymns. The Virtuoso's gameplay is very different from existing Inquisition classes. Zither always has 4 abilities mapped, 3 notes and 1 song. The notes are fire, ice, lightning, and players can unlock songs in the ability menu. For example, Cool Beats requires fire, fire, ice, while Mark of the Riff calls for fire, ice, lightning. The Virtuoso typically plays a strong support role for your party, but he can easily focus entirely on offense or become a hybrid of both styles. Just don't get stage fright and forget how to play your songs.
Interesting. I haven't played the multiplayer, so I can't none of their instructions make sense to me.
Yeah, me neither.
But it is really interesting mechanic that you kind of build to you basically build combos to ultimate abilities.
Yeah, well, it is also very reminiscent of the D&D bard to me.
Yes, very much so. Because they're the jack of all trades.
Exactly.
That's
they can do everything.
Exactly.
That's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
So with Zither, that's him in the multiplayer, but to get into Trespasser a little bit, he does perform at the Winter Palace during the Exalted Council. If the Chargers don't survive and you make Cole more spirit-like in the game, Cole will encourage Meriden to meet up with Zither. And so Cole will say it's a mistake, but one you might enjoy. And then Meriden will go to Zither and say, the famous Zither, I love all your songs, although I've never heard you sing yourself. And Zither will respond, well, then this could be a chance for both of us to ... make some music.
It makes sense why I never got this interaction.
Because the Chargers have to die.
Yes. And I have to make Cole Spirit, and I don't want to make Cole Spirit.
This is outside the scope of the Zither conversation, but for me, Dragon Age of the Veilguard really contextualizes this conversation a lot, because it makes Solas's insistence on making Cole a spirit makes so much more sense, because Solas regrets leaving spirithood and becoming corporal.
Yes.
So for me, I have a tendency, I kind of more agree with Solas now after the Veilguard.
Yeah, that's probably fair. But again, that's off the scope of this episode, as you said.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Zither, I mean, he is obviously meant to be this kind of funny companion, almost a memeable companion,
Definitely.
memeable character. But it is interesting. I like the expansion of the world. It kind of makes me sad because Dragon Age Inquisition did so much to expand the world of Thedas.
Yeah.
And the Veilguard expands the world of Thedas too, but in such a different and almost limiting way.
Yeah, I know. And the thing about it for me is Inquisition is so rich in lore, and Origins too. 2 and the Veilguard are the ones that kind of fall off a little bit on that. Not to say that they don't have their moments, they definitely do. But they're both so rich in the depth of the lore, and in very different ways. Origins is very focused on the history of all the worlds, the history of all the countries, and what the countries did, how the world got founded, whereas Inquisition is very much focused on okay, let's build that out and give you some songs about Orlais, and let me give you stories from this and chantry tales about that and legends from the elves, and you just get so much built on what the foundation of Origins started. And I do feel like we missed out on a lot of that in the Veilguard. And I also get, like, I've heard some of the BioWare writers before Veilguard come out talk about how they dislike writing codex entries, which makes me sad because, like, codex entries are how the lore gets built out and it's how we do these episodes. But I almost wonder if those kinds of feelings are one of the reasons why Veilguard's codex lore isn't quite as rich as some of the other games.
Probably. I would probably agree with that. Say that is probably the reason. But this isn't to talk about the differences between the games, just general, like, I appreciate Zither as a character because he's so small. In retrospect, I mean, he's a big part of the multiplayer, but, like, he's small in the main game kind of thing, but adds so much to that kind of world building.
Right, like, he's meaningless in the main plot of Inquisition. Like, he's just somebody you can walk by or stand next to in Orlais. But in the multiplayer, he plays quite a big role. And that's one of the things I love about Inquisition is, like, all of these little people that you think don't matter, most of them can go on to actually really truly affect the world in big ways. Like the Chargers, they can go and do all those missions. And then there's, oh my gosh, what's his name? Sutherland.
Yes.
And his company. And the Tessa Forsythia and Marius, like, there's just a lot of people. Fairbanks, yeah, absolutely. Lots of people from Inquisition that seem meaningless in the game, but have lore behind them that back them up and going and doing, you know, things that are actually pretty impactful. Not that Zither is particularly impactful to the lore. I do think he's more of just like a humorous, funny character, but he at least, like, has something that builds him out more, and I think that that's interesting.
Yeah, definitely with that, and I agree with all of that. But that's really all I have on Zither. So do you have anything else to add, or otherwise we can wrap this up?
I think we're ready to wrap it up.
All right. Well, thank you so much for doing this research and providing the episode. It was a great and fun time always, and thank all of you for listening to the Dragon Age Lorecast. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Dragon Age Lorecast. You can find us on Twitter at DA Lorecast.
If you have any lore questions, topics to unpack, or side character suggestions, join our Cups Podcasting and More Discord server. It's easily the best place on the internet. You can also support us financially through our Patreon. You can find us there on patreon.com/DragonAgeLorecast.
The Dragon Age Lorecast is part of the Robots Radio Network. For more information about the Robots Radio Network, join the Discord server via the link in our episode description.
If you enjoyed the show or learned something new today, please subscribe, leave us a review, and join the Patreon. And if you enjoyed our intro and outro music, give a big thank you to Pipeman Studios. Thank you, Pipeman. Thanks again for listening to the Dragon Age Lorecast. We'll see you next time.
Ever wanted to be a content creator but had no clue where to begin? Come join me as I sit down with content creators that have already faced the challenges you're up against, as they discuss the tips and tricks that help them be successful. Here on The Content Creator's Guide, available wherever podcasts can be found.